Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a Fastball Sunday with your host, myself, Crusty Canuck, Chris Semchuk, Veterans Veritas, and Fred Stockman. And later in the show, we'll have some other guests. But this is a very, very special June 6, 2021. 77 years after the inaugural invasion of Normandy, where our allies kicked ass and took names against the fascist onslaught of Nazi Germany at that time. Coming up sometime in the episode today, our beloved Chris Semchuk, the Major, give him a little wave, Major, did a great interview with a member of the Canadian Forces at the time who witnessed and saw the onslaught of the D-Day invasion. We'll also be discussing other political and social issues, but this is a special episode of the Fastball Sunday. And later on in the episode, we'll have some other guests. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Fastball Sunday. And welcome to Fastball Sunday with yours truly, Crusty Canuck, Chris Semchuk, and Fred Stockman. Later in this show, we'll have some other guests. So Adam Daniel Mezei is away on location again, being creative and being a director and being himself. He'll probably join us in the next little while. But this is what we have this week, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be back. I am gainfully employed now, too. So my schedule is a little iffy. I know Chris is busy and Fred gets busy, but we try to make time for everybody here. Fans of Crusty Canuck, fans of Fred Stockman, and fans of Chris Semchuk's work to come together every Sunday to talk about, well, life, politics, social BS, and other BS. But like I said, it's June 6. 77 years ago today, the Allies stormed Normandy to stop the fascist onslaught of what was Nazi Germany at that time. Not to mention the other sacrifices that our nations made too throughout the Pacific, parts of the Middle East, and in Europe as well. So, gentlemen, how's everyone's week been?
It's been 1 week.
Right on.
Fred, what about you?
It's been good. Working full time again, so that's always a good thing. So,
No kidding. We can work when you can get it.
My state is fully open now, so there's no mask requirements anymore. So you can just do whatever you want.
Right on.
Full capacity restaurants. It's pretty nice, yeah.
I want to go visit Boston, but guess what? I can't.
The thing about Boston is so Massachusetts is town by town. So if your town decides to wear masks, they'll make you. But my area doesn't, and I don't live near Boston, so
There you go. Good.
Yeah.
So it's a municipal thing, right?
Yeah. So how our government is basically set up in the state is like if a town can override state jurisdiction if they wish to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except most states, but that goes for the state can override the federal government at the national level too. So, yeah. Hence why California now has undone their AR ban.
There you go.
Ooh, well done, California. Yes.
Okay, get this. In California, as of up until yesterday, if you wanted an AR to load it, you would have to pull the bolt back on it and load from pop the pin in the back, flip it, and then load downwards into the magazine. You couldn't remove the magazine. The magazines had to be fixed in.
Crazy. Anyway.
Okay, well, I'm out in California, and that's just retarded.
Yeah. My God.
You say retarded in aisle one. And I'm not saying retarded as a derogatory statement to those individuals that have mental issues. I'm saying retarded that is slow.
Yes.
Slow.
Yeah, exactly. Put it this way, mate. Australia and New Zealand, if you own an AR in those countries, you can own 10-round detachable magazines. You don't need to pull off the top of the gun. It's stupid. California's ridiculous. They have the worst gun laws in the world. Easily.
Well, you're allowed 10 rounds down there. That's the thing. We're allowed 5.
The silliness around any sort of regulatory requirements around anything. But let's just, we're talking about guns right now. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. So restrict things all you want, put any kind of regulatory stuff around anything. It's not going to stop anything because people kill people. So There you go. There you go.
We can get to debate
That's my
anytime.
3D musket, eh?
Yeah. Let's get back to D-Day for now.
Yeah.
Let's get back to D-Day, boys, for now.
Thank God they weren't fighting with these things, right?
No kidding, eh?
True
Good
enough.
old 303 Lee Enfield.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Beautiful rock.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we'll do now, as our beloved Chris Semchuk here took the time on his own to interview a D-Day veteran. Chris, if you want to cue it up for us,
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thanks so much, Crusty. So yeah, I just want to correct your intro, and I kind of jumped on it there a little bit. I didn't know what your flow was going to be, and I apologize for that. I'm a little bit I'm pretty fried. So we'll give this intro, and then Crusty will kick into it, and I'll let you guys go over to the rest of the show because I'm going to go hoist one more beer and barbecue and relax for the rest of this D-Day. For those veterans out there, it's been a little bit of a parade day for me. So yeah, Tony, for the World War II portion of his service, he was with the Royal Marines. So on D-Day, he was with the Royal Marines, and we'll let the interview explain that in his D-Day portion. And then after World War II, he immigrated to Canada in 1947. And, didn't have enough of all that fun. So he decided to volunteer for the Canadian Army and ended up serving in Korea with C Squadron of the Lord Strathcona Regiment. So, and we'll continue on there. This video, I'll just give a little bit of a caveat as it plays on my YouTube channel as well. I had a friend come and do the video. It's a very good video, but there is some wind noise. My editing skills aren't good enough to have cleaned everything up prior to this, so it's a little bit raw. The YouTube video that's on my channel is a little bit raw. It definitely serves the purpose for honoring what this is for today's event, and I will clean it up and make it high and tight sometime very soon, within self-care and living life around it. Okay, so I'll kick it over to however you want to move on, Crusty.
Yes, just to reemphasize too, the sound's a bit off, so adjust your volume accordingly, ladies and gentlemen. But a very, very good, well put together video and an excellent interview. So please listen at your leisure and enjoy.
And have a good night, everybody. And lest we forget. On YouTube here today with I'm using notes because the memory's a little scrambled, especially on this 77th anniversary of D-Day today. I'm here with Anthony Edward Stride, Tony, a veteran brother of mine here in Kingston, born November 14th, 1925 in Seaford, England. He served on
Oh, what happened? What happened there? Ooh, I see. My apologies, had some technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what happened here. It was loaded. It wasn't loaded. I don't know what happened. It was an excellent view. What I'll do, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave the link from YouTube to put in the comment section. You can watch at your leisure, okay? I think it might have been Chris's feed. Fred, did you get a hold of that at all?
Not really, no.
Oh, what was happening? Just the feed went dead. I guess maybe Chris signed out. It was on his feed. So, okay. What I'll do is, ladies and gentlemen, I will add the link into the comment section, and you at your leisure can click on it and go from there. My apologies. I'm trying to figure out the MP4 conversion and everything here too. We're still kind of, not really technical wizards at this yet. No excuse though. I promised you a video, so I'll leave the link in the if I can. I'll leave the link in the description for you, so you can look at your own leisure and go from there. Okay, so yeah, get that on the go here someplace. Here we go. Yeah, so I'll put this on. There we go. Okay, so like I said, here's the link, ladies and gentlemen. What happened there? Okay. There we go. So it's all in the chat. Let's see there. So there's the link there to the video. You guys can, your leisure. I don't know what happened. I think Chris is still here. Okay, he come back. He's gone. All right. Anyway, besides that, what's new, Fred? Oh, here we go. And now it's back. Yeah. Okay. I'll put it on the stream again.
All right,
There we go.
hello
Hopefully
there,
it'll stick around.
Veteran's Voice, Chris
Perfect.
Semchuk on
There we go.
YouTube here today with, I'm using notes because the memory's a little scrambled, especially on this 77th anniversary of D-Day today. I'm here with Anthony Edward Stride, Tony, a veteran brother of mine here in Kingston, born November 14th, 1925 in Seaford, England. He served on D-Day as a Royal Marine gunner for the D-Day combined operations to free the Western world from the tyranny of Nazi and fascist regimes of the Axis powers of Nazi Germany, fascist Italy, and Japan. Imperial Japan.
Yep.
So thanks for being with me, Tony.
You're welcome.
And he's going to share a story with us about D-Day, pretty much starting around getting ready to roll for the operation.
Yeah, we passed for duty August 1943, and we were shipped to the HMS Black Prince in dry dock. Well, she was due out in 2 weeks, and a week into the waiting, we were drafted back to the barracks and cut in two. Our squad was cut in two. The first half went to the Royal Marine Commandos, 42nd Commandos, and the second half we went to the Combined Operations. From there, we were shipped out to Irvine in Ayrshire in Scotland, where we done a lot of commando training, such as climbing mountains, coming down through the creeks without getting out to the bottom. And if you dilly-dallied on the way down, you missed your supper. They had it all figured out. From there, after a certain weeks of training, we were shipped to
Yeah, it's okay, Tony. Those types of, it's okay. You were shipped to go train more somewhere else.
No, we were on our way to Poole in Dorset, but we stopped off in Edinburgh to get 2 or 3 days rest. We were shipped into a Quonset hut that was ice cold, no heat, no nothing. The water was all frozen. We had to melt snow once we got the fires going to warm up. We were there a couple of 3 days, then we're on the train again. We ended up in Poole. We were there for a month or two, and then we went on to South End by the sea, a couple of nights there, and then on to Southampton. Southampton, boats picked us up and took us out to the Empire Crossbow, which was a troop ship anchored in the Solent. And we went aboard the troop ship, was allotted bunks, and got our gear packed, put away, and the rest of the time was spent on our bunks. We had supper in the galley, which was a pretty nice supper, and from there we went back to our bunks with nothing to do but lay there and wonder wonder where the hell we were going.
Hurry up and wait.
we didn't know where we were going, and we were not told until we were halfway across the channel before we were told our objective.
Okay, can I pause you on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to be very clear, what Tony's talking about there is for a series of days.
Oh yeah.
Right? You knew the combined operations were coming.
Yeah.
Right? You knew it was huge. The Third Army, and you guys knew about the Third Army and all that deception warfare with the Third Army, which for those that don't know the story of that was Patton's fake Third Army to try to
we
deceive
figured
the Germans.
we were going to
Okay, my apologies once again, ladies and gentlemen. The sound has gone and it seemed to be paused. So we'll try this again, hopefully. Get this on the go, because the interview that I saw earlier today was just fantastic. Never mind the wind, never mind the noise. It was what Chris put together like that. He planned it and just to celebrate in honor of our fall on the D-Day to our American friends, our British friends, Australian friends, and of course our beloved Canadian fallen too. So we'll try this again. I'll try queuing it up here. So
one, go for it.
All right, hello there.
there we go. Hopefully.
Their
see what's-
objective for the beach until they're
Okay, I
halfway
hope that helps,
across
folks.
the channel.
Yeah.
Then they're told that's where it is. So that's the point we're at
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Right, Tony?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
So anyway, after that, the troops come aboard, and on the 5th we set sail, up anchor, and away we went. There was a gale blowing, and we got halfway across the channel, and they pulled the pin, and we turned around, went back, and anchored up for another 24 hours. Then around 4 o'clock in the morning on the 6th of June 1944, we were called, we had breakfast, and then we all went to our allotted landing craft. I was lucky I got what they call the landing craft support. We support, I mean, we had a turret amidships, twin machine guns like Lancaster's rear turret in the Lancaster, and in the bow we had a 4-inch mortar tube where we could fire canisters of smoke. Anyway, we moved in. There was quite a sea rolling, and I felt sorry for the troops at Skull Land because they must have been seasick. And then after that, they got to run up against a hail of bloody bullets. But anyway, we made our way in to and halfway in, we were told we were going to land at Aramonte, which is Gold Beach, and our position as support was on the border of Juno Beach and Gold Beach. And we went in, we took the first wave to the beach, we went in, and we had to back out. The rocket ships, they're big landing craft with hundreds of rockets, and they fired onto the beach to blow all mines that the Germans had laid in wait for us. So anyway, after they left, we moved into the beach. It was all quiet, really. it wasn't like a landing at all. Then, as we got closer to the beach, all hell broke loose. We had the Navy behind us, all different countries with their naval ships behind us, and we had the all the guns from the Germans firing at us, and all hell just broke loose. And anyway, we went in, we put the first troops ashore, and they met a hail of bullets. There was guys running up ramps and stopping dead and falling into the water dead. There's others grabbing themselves and falling in the water. It was complete murder. And I don't care what you say, it was complete murder for the guys running up that beach, because they had no chance. They didn't know where the bullets were coming from at the time. And they just ran up their beach. What they had to do, we stopped right on the borderline of Juneau and Gold Beach, and we sat there right at the water's edge for 7 hours while the beach was being secured. And we done nothing but wait. We fired our machine guns to give a support, but they didn't call for smoke. The troops were good. They went in and they cleared out the Germans, and everything started to quieten down quite a bit.
Can I pause you there?
Yeah.
The reason why I want to pause Tony there is because at Juneau Beach, and I posted it on Twitter today, some pictures as well, the first secured home on all of D-Day operations is at Juneau Beach, and it's called Canada House. Okay, and it's at Juneau Beach. It's the famous. Anyway, I won't digress and take away from.
I didn't know that.
It's the first house, and I'm going to show Tony pictures of it too from when I was at the 70th anniversary of D-Day, and it's posted on Twitter. Okay, Tony.
Yeah.
And that was the first secured house on D-Day, and it's right at Juneau Beach. Tony.
Yeah.
So Tony was instrumental in securing that house. Okay. So
But-
let's take that opportunity to, if that's all right, to move to the next part of your D-Day story.
What
okay?
I didn't know was my mother's brother was in the Canadian Forces right alongside of me, and I never knew that.
Yeah. Until after.
Until after.
Yeah. And everybody, Tony's a veteran brother of mine in Kingston that I've met through another veteran brother too. So we'll be having some more talks, hopefully, if you want to as well, Tony, like I've been doing with other veterans on this channel, okay? So this is a special D-Day version with Tony, but we'll be having some more, okay? Yeah. So I'd like to move on to the second part of your D-Day story, if that's okay.
After the beach was secured, we had orders to pick up the wounded, the floating wounded that was, and get them to the beach, which we done. Don't worry about the dead. They will be picked up afterwards. And from there, we went and picked up the tank crews where their tanks had sunk. And something I didn't know, but these tanks were driven by Royal Marines.
There you go.
Yeah. And we didn't know that until I was reading it in papers afterwards.
Yeah.
And
so much secrets.
There
was a lot of different compartmentalized secrets.
I found out afterwards there was 15,000 Royal Marines were on the landing itself.
There you go.
Yeah, I never knew that. Yeah. But anyway, we went and picked up the tank crews that didn't want to swim ashore, so we picked them up and put them ashore. Then we went about our second original job, which was to patrol Mowbray Harbor, whereas we would patrol for E-boats. We were told before the operation, don't worry about aircraft. They're all grounded. The Air Force is taking care of them. So we carried on with looking for for E-boats or anybody that wants to come in and cause havoc. So we patrolled there for, I guess, a week, and then we decided, well, it's all quiet, so we tied up at nighttime alongside of one of the old freighters that they had sunk as a breakwater, and stretched out on the deck there and spent our nights under radio watch. We kept radio watch going, and everything was okay until one morning we get up and we go over the side, and there's our little boat, and it's sinking. It's half full of water.
What are you thinking about?
And we didn't know. We didn't know that if it had been hit or not. And anyway, it sank, and we're high and dry on one of the other craft, and we bum a ride into the beach, and there we are, missing in action for 5 days. Nobody knew where we were, what we were doing, or anything about us. Some of the guys, they wanted to draw guns from the Navy camp, and but the others said, no, we got to stay here. We went to a Marine outfit that had just formed up in one of the buildings, and they turned us down and sent us to the Navy camp. So we were on the loose, and we didn't. All we done was help unload the ships and unload the into what they call them, rubber boats, and bring it ashore. And then by that time the dock had been finished off, whereas bigger ships could come in and tie up at the dock and unload their stores.
Okay, so hold on. The mulberries were already done in 7 days?
Yep.
Or at least one of them. Like enough of them were done that
Yeah.
they could start. Okay, so everybody historically wise, he's at Armash Harbor, which again, I put pictures of that on Twitter too. Armash, okay. Potato, tomato, French, you know, I'm functionally illiterate in both official languages. Anyways, at Armash Harbor, they built these mulberries, okay, and so in 7 days they had enough of them built that they could start bringing in provisions to support the beachhead, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So at this point now, you were doing that.
Yeah.
They said, okay, your job done's here,
Yeah, our job's done.
and time for a respite. So what happens next?
Well, they rounded us up, believe it or not, and said you're on that cruiser. It's anchored right there alongside the Mulberry, and you're going back to Portsmouth. So we clambered aboard the cruiser and went back to Portsmouth. We got off of the cruiser and into buses, and they took us back to the Eastney Barracks, which was a Marine barracks, and there was they had to take us to where all the recruits were, guys that just joined up, and they didn't know how to form lines and turn and march and that. And anyway, the sergeant saw us getting off the bus and right away out of here, and he got the recruits out of there, out of our way, so they couldn't see. We were dirty, we were unshaven, we had no equipment, no nothing, and we lived as we called.
Yeah, so I just want to reflect on that one for a second, because, you know, the sausage factory of war, right? Tony did all the workups and the training and everything to go for the combined operations, and did his duty, came back with his crew, and there's the new young guys getting ready to go, and there's no way that anybody wanted those young guys to see these guys coming back, because it's pretty hard to indoctrinate young folks into getting ready to go do that, right? So the two shall not meet. Hey, Tony?
That's correct.
Yeah, and then we can talk more, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But the D-Day experience is there, and I just want to mention, we see this beautiful young old man sitting here in his 94-year-old vigor in this green jacket here. All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention before we close with some nice story, a little bit of a nice story to close with you. Look at him. Not only did he do World War II, ladies and gentlemen, Tony then immigrated to Canada, got settled in our beautiful country, and there's more. I want to do this again and serve this beautiful country, and then served in Korea. So maybe we'll be talking about that another day, Tony, God willing, my friend. Okay.
Yep.
So then served in Korea too. So what do I want to highlight with that is that service and people that serve, not just in the military, but that call to service, whatever it is, if it's in your genes and in your bones as a human being, it doesn't end, does it, Tony?
No.
Hey?
No, it doesn't. It was in my father. He was in the Marines in the First World War, aboard the battleship Indomitable, and I come 17. I said, I'm joining the Merchant Navy. He said, no, you're not. He said, you're joining the Marines. And he said, if you don't like it, I won't sign for you. So that was the ultimatum. So I joined the Marines. And I enjoyed it. I honestly did. We did a lot of tattoos. Our squad was the Freight Sergeant Major. He liked the way we done our drills and that, and he took us on all kinds of tattoos, and we done drill displays and all that. We were in the film This Happy Breed, and we were in the marching of it. Nothing verbal or anything. There was about 100 of us all lined up, about 10 or 15 abreast, and we marched down the street. That was This Happy Breed.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, let's close with this too then, Tony, because we've talked about some of the history and heritage around D-Day and stuff, okay? I don't want people to get the wrong impression here, okay? Veterans don't glorify war, do we? Okay? Veterans and people that served have the call to service for whatever reasons we have that call to service.
Yeah.
Somebody has to do it. Sorry, that's human nature. As we can all tell, humans are going to always have some sort of animosity towards each other, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'd like to close with what your advice would be to young men and women, if they do have the call to service and they do join, or they do, you know what I mean? Like just humanity as a 94-year-old man. 95, yeah. Well, hey, my math ain't so good anymore. I used to be able to do math at 800 knots closure, but not anymore, okay? So yeah, what would be your advice to the generations out there listening to a man of your wisdom and caliber for the future?
Well, I would like to say, but I don't know if the young people of today would listen. But if your country needs you, join up and serve for your country and your Commonwealth. It's a great country, and it's only people like you and like I was when I was young, getting out there and signing on the dotted line and doing your job. That's all you have to do. Just do your job, and if you do it right, things go right for you. If you want to screw around, then you take the punishment that you get, but mostly you'll enjoy life in the services. And for young ladies that don't want to join the service, do as they done in the wartime in the UK, join the land army and work on the land and in the orchards and plowing the fields, milking the cows and all that jazz, which they done open-heartedly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if okay, and outside of military service, let's just in civilian society, right, to serve your country and to be a good citizen, what would you suggest for people in today's society to just to be a good citizen,
Just obey the laws and like I was told when I came from England, and I was told by the immigration chap
here in Canada,
here in Canada, to obey by the laws, leave your old country laws behind, and learn English. And I'm afraid that is gone by the book.
Well, there you go. Just bottom line is, you come to
Yeah.
a country, live in your country,
Live and enjoy it.
exactly. Live and enjoy, and
Yeah.
a good advice for anybody in life.
It's
isn't it, Tony?
a lovely country. And Canada, believe it or not, used to be #1 country in the world.
There you go. Right on, Tony. So looking forward to having some more discussions with you.
Yeah.
Health and age willing, right?
I can go from when I was 14 right through till
Yesterday
yesterday.
and today. I tell you, Tony's sharp as a tack, and looking for more on Veterans Voice with me, hopefully,
Yep.
Tony.
Yeah,
All right.
hopefully. Yeah.
And so thanks for being here. And any last words for anybody out there before we say goodbye?
Yeah. Just obey what the government says and keep your distance, wear your mask, and stay safe. Most important thing, stay safe.
And
Yeah.
strong.
And strong.
And strong, right? Awesome.
Yeah, strong north.
Strong and free. All right, Tony, thank you very much for being here with me
You're
on
welcome,
D-Day.
any
This has
day.
been extremely special for me, my friend. So, everybody, like, subscribe, and share. And comments to Tony, and I'll make sure Tony sees them, because I think this has been pretty special. A lot of help from a lot of friends and a lot of support here to do this. So, have a good day and take care, everybody.
Well, that was a very, very heartfelt, realistic interview. Wouldn't you say so there, Fred?
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really deep.
Different experiences and different situations alike. That's a generation that came out of a depression where everything was rationed because of the war effort. And it wasn't just for the sake of the war machine, it was the effort to stop a known evil. Right. And America felt it, Canada felt it, Britain felt it. The rest of the Commonwealth countries felt it too. Rationing sugar, rubber, metal. Men were out fighting the wars, and women ran the nations. They ran the factories, the munitions, the aircraft factories, the farms, everything. So there was quite the unilateral strife to get things on the go, to get things going, to keep things afloat, right? And what gets me too, I catch myself making complaints and stuff in everyday life too, but we forget that generation. Our grandparents' generation made one hell of a sacrifice, well beyond our comprehension. Okay, I was overseas for 6 months, did 2 tours, 6 months here, 6 months there. Okay, these men went off to war, 1939. Right, some of them signed up for the whole 6-year deal. Some signed up for a year. Some, right, but the majority, I especially say the Canadians, signed up for a long time, and they did what they had to do. And by the end of World War II, there were 1 million Canadians in uniform in some capacity, right, fighting fascist Germany and Imperial Japan, right? Out of a country of roughly 10 million people, 10% of the Canadian citizens that time served. So, noble cause for sure.
Yeah.
And hats off to all those veterans, American, Canadian, and British, Australian, and French, even the resistance that fought against the known enemy at that time. Right. So when I hear, sorry,
sorry not to interrupt you totally, but
No.
not to deviate too much, but I just kind of feel sad. Like there was such an amazing generation that was really had strong convictions. You know, they had practical goals in life, and they lived truly courageous lives. You know, fighting World War II. And I just see our countries now, and I'm just disappointed that we can't have those same types of people around, anymore. They're all in their 80s and 90s, and yeah, just sad to me. Oh, war just seems like such a sad experience. I mean, I never fought in anything, but that, especially that one, what a struggle that was. Was it 65 countries? I think they participated.
At the time, yeah, whatever countries were existing, or even countries that aren't even existing anymore. The sacrifices too. Now, okay, we could sit and theorize what the Russians did. The Russians did a great job pushing back Germany, big time. And of course, regardless of the political system or not, the Russians committed a great sacrifice as well, not just by the hands of their own leadership and the Stalinistic BS that has been whitewashed since Stalin's existence, but a lot of Russians sacrificed their lives to stop the German onslaught.
Yeah.
Regardless of how many were killed by their own officers or killed by their own proletariat, they suffered and endured too. And I think that the casualties were roughly 20 plus million Russians were killed.
I think the majority of Allied casualties were Russian.
I would have to say so. Regardless if they took part, well, they didn't take part in D-Day, but they were fighting the Germans on another front. So, hats off to those men and women too. Regardless of the political system or not, there were a lot of men and women that died brutally at the hands of Nazi Germany. And a lot of men and women fought against the Nazi Germans for survival, not so much because of what Stalin was pushing down their throats, but for the fact of just surviving, because they're dealing with two evils at the same time. So, but I am very, very thankful that I live in a country like Canada, and I've had a few people weigh in on my Facebook page lately and saying, "Oh, if you hate Canada so much, why you live?" I don't hate my country. I love my country. It's because of men like Tony, and because of other men like Chris that take the time to learn, to share the words of wisdom, to appreciate what we have in this democracy. And I challenge anyone out there in Cyberland who wants to engage me in debate on the proletariat, bring it. Okay? I've said numerous times on this show and on my podcast, till my last breath. That simple. Okay? Now, I haven't seen the same combat experiences as those gentlemen, and in some cases, those ladies have in World War II. But war is not sexy, folks. Never has been. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to give you an Oscar every fucking year when they decide to actually award a movie that makes sense, right? It's an experience, and experiences I'll never forget. Based on mine, based on others, and based on some of the comrades that aren't with us here today because of those events. So let's get rid of the armchair leaders and start getting back to business. What do you say, Fred?
I say we make our leaders tough again. You want to talk about world leaders? Winston Churchill, Theodore Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt. Theodore was Teddy. Teddy Roosevelt's a great leader too, but
Rough Rider.
Yeah. But yeah, like I another thing that disappointed me today was I was thinking about the last couple of election cycles. I've been alive for 4 presidents now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 presidents, and I think the last 4 have been absolute boobs. If we're going to be honest, just not serious-minded people whatsoever. Imagine if we had someone like Harry Truman or Dwight Eisenhower or Winston Churchill as president. You know, like these serious-minded men of the generation that could actually lead. They led the struggle in the Second World War. You know, I wish people would be serious-minded again. Something I was thinking about, but yeah.
Well, I see that up here too, and I've said numerous times on my show, we're not seeing enough blue-collar based people with the can-do attitude. We're seeing, and I can honestly say in both of our countries too, based on your opinions and other opinions I've heard, from other fans that have reached out to me. We're not seeing the can-do. We're seeing, well, we better not say this because someone might get offended. Oh, we better not do this because so-and-so feels marginalized. And it's like, in both of our countries, you have the opportunity to pursue things, to take that chance, whether it's academia, whether it's industrial, whether it's art. The only really difference that I would see between Canada and the States is there's a bigger market in the States. 37 million people in Canada compared to what, 350 million people in the US of A.
330, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, there might be some market restrictions too. But then on both sides of both of our governments, they worry about who's going to make the profit and who isn't. We don't have that leadership here. Based on Biden's excuses, especially bringing up lumber again. What the fuck? So it's not just going to cost the American taxpayer a few more bucks. It's going to cost him a few more dollars in regards to building materials, just like it is here in Canada too. Lumber is a fucking nightmare.
Think about this, man. It costs roughly, I'm going to say 3 times the price it does for the amount of wood you get to like frame a house. So if you're a carpenter right now and you need wood to frame your house or frame a house you're building, it's going to cost you roughly 3 times the price for the material, just the materials alone.
Same thing here too, right?
Also, copper pipe and copper wire is ridiculously expensive right now, and that affects my trade a lot. Like, we can't get cheap wire. It is so expensive right now. To buy a box of, I forget the usual price it retails for, but to like buy 3 or 4 wire, which is like electrical wire for you guys that don't know that, it costs roughly twice of what it would normally cost in like 2 years ago. You know, it's nuts.
Oh, it's just a damn shame. It's just not fair, period. Right? A gasoline, cost of living, like even my cigarettes. You know, I shouldn't be smoking. And don't smoke at home, kids. There's my PSA for today. But it's just getting really, really fucking ridiculous in how we're being governed, how we have to do our lives again. And now up here, they're still weighing the odds about an election. And let's see, where did this... Mr. Sittler, it's a matter of getting off the couch and make a difference. Leaders are born of acting. Yes, well, leaders are born of acting. I've stressed numerous times on my show how I'm going to run into federal politics. So once they call an election, I'll be out petitioning, getting my signatures as per under the rules of Elections Canada and doing my part, right? And I encourage my Canadian audience to please consider that. There are choices and options. Okay. There's been a lot of speculation up here when it comes to the Liberal government spending and how people are going to say, well, you know, Justin Trudeau will get a landslide. Why? Because he's promoting comfort, right? Promoting the handouts. Well, there has to be a giant, economical kitty to hand out all these handouts with, nothing going to happen, right? But you can't keep printing money and hoping for the best. You can't live off the credit card because the interest is going to skyrocket. And with all this interest coming out, when there's no products coming in or going out, you're going to have something called hyperinflation, which is one of the events that led to the Second World War. Hyperinflation.
My relatives in Zimbabwe would tell you hyperinflation is not a good thing. It's roughly 50 US cents is roughly 2 million Zimbabwean dollars now.
Yeah.
Don't want it.
Just,
money, you can't just print money.
Well, that's the thing, and that's the logic, right? And as long as our leaders are still getting paid the big bucks to sit there, and hats off the opposition, the actual politicians that are trying to make a difference. Okay, the majority of them are sitting around just waiting on their hands, waiting for their dear leaders to say yay or nay, which, as far as I'm concerned, not right at all. They should represent their constituents and people in their riding. Mark Dietz, today people are fighting for trivial BS that wins them points on FB. Yeah, that's today's virtue. War, on the other hand, would set people's priorities straight real fast, and not to wish for war. Exactly, And ironically enough, Mark, okay, if there was a war declared today, that would boom the economy. Not that I'd want to do that. I'd rather see oil get to market. I'd rather see our lumber get a fair shake. I'd rather see our dairy farmers and our grain farmers get credit due without worrying about carbon taxes and other makeshift fucking money grab schemes, right?
There probably will be a war soon. Not with China though, because Joe Biden doesn't want to do anything about China because he's a wet noodle. He wants to. He's stirring up tensions with Russia. Okay. Let's think about how serious that is for a second. I don't want to go on too long about this because I hate to be a nihilist about this kind of stuff. But the fact that Joe Biden, a weak American president, is picking fights with Vladimir Putin, who is objectively running a much stronger nation at the same time. I'm not saying we're going to lose, but do you really think that a nationalistic nation like Russia is going to back down from a fight to a really loser nation like America right now? Just being realistic here. Russia's the new strongman. Okay, objectively speaking, the bad guys won in human history. If you want to see it that way, I don't really care what Russia does. They can do whatever they want. But if you want to speak about who is actually the dominant countries that are going to last, it's Eastern Europe and it's China.
Mm-hmm.
It's Russia, Poland, Hungary, Estonia, Belarus, and China. And that's basically the world that's the direction the world is shifting in. So just prepare yourselves. This Western neoliberal society we live in now is doomed to fail, and it's failing because of pathetic leaders like Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden and Boris Johnson. All pathetic, so pathetic. So, I mean, I guess we get what we voted for, guys. So, yeah, good job, democracy. You did such a good job. Heck yeah.
Mark Dietz says, CC, a leader would let the economy roar at this time. And yes, of course, I would bring in the oil pipes. I would let Eastern Pipeline be a go. And if a handful of people in La Belle Provence disagreed with it, then fine. They can go buy their fuel in Maine or Vermont. They could work a deal without those two states and say, hey, can we get some of your gas? And let Vermont and Maine decide, okay, well, we'll get it to you at price and then some too, based on the American dollar, right? And let Canada thrive. That's what it comes down to, folks, not just necessarily politicians giving us the thumbs up and letting us do things. It's a matter of us letting ourselves do things, letting us thrive. Nothing wrong with capitalism. There's always going to be people maybe left behind someplace, but we can't always stop and worry about 2 or 3 people. We have to worry about how the country is going to get along. I don't care how you live your life. Do it to the best of your ability. Just don't hit people, take their stuff. Simple. But then it gets twisted around, right?
Yeah. Have you seen there's a really good video by Lauren Southern, who's an absolute legend. Mm-hmm. She made a video called, I think it's The Critique of Capitalism. And her critique is interesting, and I actually really enjoyed that video. If you guys haven't seen it, actually, I know you probably can't play it on this because it's on YouTube, but I think we should leave it in the link. But if I had to say anything, I do love capitalism, and I think it's a good system, but what we've in its current toxic form, we're not really a fan of. We need to fix some things. Mostly, my concern is the taxation is crazy in our Western nations, but that's not necessarily capitalism's fault. That's more just the government. But if you want to talk about like its problems, is I think we really got to bring manufacturing back to our countries. We can't be relying on China to make our stuff now. It's nuts. Trump was right. Like he really should have ran just specifically on this one thing, and that is the elites in America, Canada, Australia, and Britain basically sold all of our manufacturing to China because it was cheaper to make everything there. And I think it's nuts that something can be made in the heartland of China for basically slave labor wages and no OSHA certifications, no safety guidelines. And somehow it's cheaper being shipped from communist China all the way to some port in California, then shipped by train or truck out to Chicago, and then shipped to your local, I don't know, store or whatever, or your Amazon facility. How messed up is that? Why can't we just make our own stuff in like the American heartland and the Canadian heartland? Why can't we do that?
Because you have to pay people.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm willing to pay people.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I
willing to
mean.
pay people. Exactly. Right? Capitalism isn't perfect, but still the best system we've ever had. Yes, it isn't perfect.
We need
Democracy
to put
isn't
tariffs.
perfect.
We need to put tariffs on China, and we need to put sanctions on them so we can bring an incentive back to companies in our own countries to make stuff here. We cannot rely. Okay, and this pandemic has proved we can't rely off China because when all these lockdowns happened and we stopped bringing stuff in, we got left behind, and there's shortages of stuff right now. So yeah, we can talk about shortages of wood and steel and all this stuff, but the problem is a lot of it's made in China. A lot of the components you need are made in China. So how about let's put tariffs on that country and make everything here? We can do it. How were we able to do it in World War II back like 77 years ago? How did that happen? If we had worse technology then, we could easily just do it now, but we don't because we're cowards. That's what we do. We basically just bend the knee to China.
And that's the thing, bending the knee, and especially up here, with a lot of the love for it. And when you criticize our political leaders in regards to dealings with communist China, they pull the racist card all of a sudden.
Oh, Justin Trudeau bends over to communist China. And I mean bends over from the rear, okay?
Right up the top, little slap and tickle. Here we go.
We all know Justin Trudeau is not a straight man, okay? Let's be honest. I wish he would just come out and say he's gay already. Seriously. Just say at least you're bisexual, mate. I just want you to be honest with us. That would be transparency. Okay? Anyway, but yeah, they bend the knee or they bend over, and communist China is continuing to be on front. And I find that hilarious. I think I was talking about that guy, Danny Hofong, who I criticized on YouTube back when I had a channel. Anyway, that guy literally made the argument on Twitter recently that it's actually racist to talk about the COVID lab leak conspiracy theory on the internet. It actually makes you a racist now to question the origins of a certain virus. Oh, really? So how about German measles, Spanish flu, South African COVID variant? That's kind of racist. There's tons of black people there. Are you saying black people are dead? Racist? Or the Indian strain of the coronavirus? What the heck, man? It's racist. Racist. Everything's racist now.
Well, you can't even point a finger or fart without someone complaining about it. That's the thing. It's not racist to disagree with one country's way of diplomacy. It's not sexist to disagree with a female politician, right? And it's not homophobic to disagree with a politician who might be gay. See, that's the thing. People get this idea because, well, I represent this group, I represent this culture, therefore you must cater to me and like me and love me and honor me. And when they fuck up, oh, well, that's okay then. Well, no, it's not. We're supposed to be functioning adults here. So I don't care if Bob and Steve have a barbecue and dance around with whatever's on their heads and their privates, knock yourselves out. But in the same sense, I just hope Bob and Steve get their shit together and they live their lives and don't hit people, take their stuff, regardless. I don't really care. The thing being is I want to see my country flourish, thrive as it should, as any democracy should. And there's going to be imperfections from here till when the cow's gone home. That's fine, right? But we have to sort out the residential schooling issue. Okay, I personally believe that all clergy, not just the Catholic Church, but every clergy that had its hand in the residential school model, and even the northern United States as well, atone for their sins. Atone for them. And every government official that stood by and did nothing, atone for it. Right?
I agree.
That simple.
I
The
agree.
truth must be told in that, right? They screwed up generations of people, and it's just people. I'm sick of the color coding. You took First Nation members, forced them out of their homes, forced them to submit to this doctrine. Kids were beaten, kids were killed, kids were murdered, kids were abused sexually, physically, and emotionally. And it screwed up a generation. And I want the governing clergies from all faiths of the Christian cloth, Catholic, Anglican, Protestant, United, Presbyterian, whatever branch, to atone for it. Show the records to the councils that are appointed, especially the senior First Nation councils, and atone for it. That simple.
Just be careful with Protestant because they're not actually considered clergy; they're just priests. There's no hierarchy for the Protestant Church.
Any
'cause it's not
governing body,
centralized.
any governing body of the faith, any governing body.
Yeah, no, I agree though.
Any governing body, doesn't matter if it's the Catholic Church of Canada or a Catholic Church of the United States or the Church of England. Every governing body that has taken part in that must atone for it.
I have a question about Canada though. Do you guys have and this is out of complete ignorance, but do you guys have government religion? Like, does your government have an official religion?
As far as I know, nothing has been said, but I think on paper at one time it was based on the Judeo-Christian principles.
Okay.
But I'm not exactly sure. Like, of course, Her Majesty, I think, is Catholic.
Her Majesty is Anglican.
Anglican? Okay, then I was wrong then. So, needless to say,
the only Catholic churches in
Christian-based.
England would be, the only Catholic churches in Canada would be in Quebec, right? I think most of the country would be
Most of
Protestant then.
Catholicism, but there is a governing body in Canada of the Catholic faith.
Okay, I didn't realize that because there's no state religion in the United States. It's all independent churches. We do have, well, technically there is one church that's on government property, and it's in one church I can think of in government property. It's in D.C., but I don't know it's where the president goes, basically.
Mhm.
It's across the street from the White House. It's the one
Camp
that got
David?
burned. No, it's the one that got burned over the summer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That was fun.
Well, I'm not saying let's burn the churches. What I'm saying is that
but
the
investigations
governing
into
bodies,
pedophilia and stuff is important. I agree.
anybody who has information on what happened or wherever the records may lie, bring them to surface, bring them out to the public attention. Okay.
You know,
No,
one
I'm
thing
not-
that sketchy the Catholic Church would do, and I think you might find this interesting. You know about Cardinal Pell in Australia? Have you heard of that guy?
Remind me.
He was the cardinal that was charged or allegedly accused of pedophilia and touching a young child. What's interesting is totally a coincidence, but at the same exact time, like about 2 weeks before these allegations came out, I think it was roughly 2 weeks, he started investing the Catholic Church's finances, and then this kind of stuff came out. So I really question what the Catholic Church is up to. And it's not that I hate Catholics or anything like that. Whatever, do what you want. The trouble is there's something going on where the Catholic Church realizes that they know that there's pedophiles in their system, so they can abuse that and basically say, hey, we don't want our finances looked into, so we're going to accuse this guy of pedophilia through a back door. And basically, that's what I think happened. I could be wrong. The kid could be telling the truth, but I think it's very, very possible the Catholic Church is doing like a mafia kind of thing here, where they either have dirt on him, and he did do those horrible acts, or he didn't, and they just don't want their finances looked into. So,
I would
there's a lot of
agree
that
with
stuff
that
going
too. Corporations are known to do that as well. Find dirt on somebody.
Totally.
Look what the DuPonts did when it came to the poison water in West Virginia. Look at the dirt they. But needless to say. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please hand us your questions here. You're watching Fastball Sunday with Crusty Canuck and myself, Fred Stockman. A big thank you out there to Chris Semchuk for putting together that interview with Mr. Tony, a D-Day veteran and former veteran of the Lord Strathcona's Horse Regiment, which is basically a tank regiment now in Canadian forces. So if you feel like donating, please donate. Follow the link at the bottom. I can make this a full-time commitment, and you, my wonderful audience, can make that happen. Next Sunday, there will not be another fastball. I'm employed, so I am working, right? But still, pay attention to my community page on YouTube and Facebook for updates as well. I will have a new Crusty Canuck episode up either sometime tomorrow or Tuesday sometime too. So please stay tuned with that, as well as other events. Please join us. This is Fastball Sunday with myself, Fred Stockman. We had Chris Semchuk earlier, right? We might have another special guest making an appearance later on in the show, hopefully soon. But still, please
Yeah,
send
I'm
us
not
your
sure. I
questions.
didn't get anything back.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. No
It's
worries.
a little bit tough to get international guests because different time difference, you know.
Oh, Tom, yes. Well, it's okay. Just when I send you a link, just pass it around to your mates. And if they want to join, they can join. But moving on. Yes, today is June 6th, 2021, 77 years since our allies stormed the beaches of Normandy to stop a real nasty fucking evil. The sacrifices will never be forgotten. I know my grandfather stormed the beaches and he ended up getting wounded in Holland. My other grandfather flew Lancasters. I have distant relatives that go back as far as the Boer War and the war in Korea too. And I've even had the honor of actually talking to some Canadians too that joined the American forces in the late 1960s and did their part, what they thought was doing right. So I'm going to be working on an episode where I actually talk to a Canadian Vietnam vet in the future. So
That's
stay
cool.
tuned for that too. So
what unit was he in?
well, there was two individuals. One said he was a Marine. The other said he was in the United States Army.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do know of a guy who's, I think it was one of his cousins was a French Canadian. He joined the U.S. Army in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. I think he passed. I think he was killed in combat because I know he died in the 60s. I think he was unfortunately shot and killed in. Is it what? I'm trying to think of the division he was in. I think he was in the Mekong Delta area, and he was killed while on a boat patrol. It's pretty tragic, but yeah. Yeah, I don't really have any relatives that fought in World War II, so can't really say anything. I had a great grandfather who was injured in the Pacific, but that's about it. He didn't really. I don't know what happened. He never talked about it. So no one in Europe, no one that fought in Europe, as far as I know.
Understood. Yes, June 6th, 77 years since the D-Day invasion. So both of our countries sacrificed a lot so we can enjoy the freedoms we have today. Now, I've dealt with some communist kids that have weighed into my profile, and they would say communist kids. And no, not.
Can we read the comments?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to get to that until you interrupted me.
Yes.
Now, I was going to say something, Frederick. Anyhow, to summarize, we'll get some more comments here too for you, all. I forget what I was going to say. So I'll probably look at when I record this and put it on my page there, see what happens. So look at the 1950s subversion of the church as well. Commies got their hands in the cookie jar. That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me how much influences they might have had. Tasanico says, John Diefenbaker was the last conservative PM and the last good PM. Yeah, I could say to some cases too, but he also felt the sting and the pressure of canceling the Avro Arrow too, which was a different can of worms to begin with. But I know he was a fundamentalist when it came to Canadian Charter of Rights and the Canadian Bill of Rights. But my concern right now is that we have to maintain our Charter of Rights and hold it to the highest regard of the law. All these freedom rallies that are being questioned, I don't care if you're anti-maxer or a masker, anti-vaxxer, it doesn't faze me. I'm getting tired of the masks myself. I'm getting tired of the politics going with it. I'm getting tired of leaders telling us, do as we say, not as we do, right? And we've seen it on both sides of the border, right, Fred? So,
Yeah.
So,
Hey, you want to hear something amazing?
sure.
Joe Biden signed a bill that he was required to wear masks on federal property, and like the next day took a photo of him and his family without masks on the Lincoln Memorial. So they were literally standing on federal property just after he signed a law saying you have to wear a mask on federal property.
Mhm.
What an idiot. I mean, come on. That's
Well,
an easy one.
Justin Trudeau took a knee at the BML marches last year after the George Floyd incidents, right? And he also tweeted that everyone has the right to speak their mind and freedomly express and all that. And yet a lot of the provinces have cut down on freedom rallies, what have you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Justin Trudeau. I'm gonna bend the knee to BLM because I'm a communist. So yeah, just don't burn down my house, okay? And don't worry, all you other normal Canadians. I know you guys don't live in gated communities, so yeah, just enjoy this nice ride you're about to have.
Yeah, that works. Well done. Well done. Yeah.
He usually wears a black mask, which I don't have. So
yeah. DeSantico, he wasn't perfect, but we still had flaws, yes, but he obtained the Canadian Bill of Rights, which supersedes the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Well, that's the thing, I could sit here and say, if elected, I could do my fucking damnedest to reinforce a lot of these bills of rights. All colors, all creeds. Let's open the books to see where this spending has gone, what has gone down, what has gone up, right? And I'm gladly take a pay cut too, ladies and gentlemen.
Do an investigation into how much money is going to China and how much money is going to Israel.
Well, 25 million Canadian dollars went to Gaza Strip already.
Oh my gosh. Why are we giving these people money? They've been fighting for like 2,000 years. No one cares. Stop.
Thank you, Derek. I would appreciate that. If you forward it to my email, that'd be gracious. Thank you very much. I will put that up here for you. Yes. Yes, by all means. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any information for me, please email it to the address at the bottom of your screen, and I'll do what I can to use it to my best of my ability and give you a proper shout out when the time comes. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Fastball Sunday with myself, Crusty Canuck, and Fred Stockman. Chris Semchuk was with us earlier today, made that great video for us. He had other commitments. Daniel Mezei is also on location still, too, filming some great work. So keep an ear to the ground for his work as well. Actor, writer, director. He's quite the artist. So keep an ear to the ground for Adam's work as well. Hopefully he'll be with us the next couple of weeks. We'll see what's going on, too. So, needless to say, yes, it's a shitstorm, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not as enthusiastic today. It's kind of somber. Maybe it's because it's June 6th, and I've had a pretty long work week, which is pretty good. So I still managed to get my episodes out to all you there too. Like I say, updates, just follow my YouTube page and my Facebook page respectively for updates on upcoming shows and different formats and other information. If you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this all around, all the other good stuff. Help the independent algorithm get out there. So if you like Fred's work too, you can follow him on Anchor FM. I'll put a banner at the end of the page there too. Check out Fred's work as well. He talks politics and shop and other things, same as I do, but from an American perspective. So anyway, so please, ladies and gentlemen, at this point of the show, tell us all where you're writing this from, please, where you're all typing from, where you're all viewing from. I know Fred's in Massachusetts, so.
This state. I'm glad they got rid of the masks, though. That's nice. I mean, they shouldn't have enforced them in the first place, but you know, I'll take a victory. That's good enough.
Well, I think people are starting to crack at the seams now too. We keep hearing about cases and cases and cases, and oh my God! And Jeremy Jackson's calling us from Waterloo, Ontario. Went on, Jeremy.
How many? I do have to ask. How many ammunition cases on the ground of people shooting themselves in the head? I would like to see that. Because I know there was a ton of suicides over this last year. For a fact, I know 2 people that killed themselves So if we want to talk about cases, I think it'd be really tragic to see the amount of bullets that were expelled, and maybe all those people dying on the streets of Chicago every night, about 20 each night. Why is this a society we live in? Why is this okay? And everyone just like that we think like all this stuff we see in the news. We see like these riots in Portland. They're still going on literally every single night.
Mm-hmm.
Like this isn't. I'm just so disappointed. People are so defeated. They can't just be like. Average people are afraid to basically just say, "This what we are doing right now is not okay," and that is really sad. That's not what our grandparents did. It's just incredibly disappointing. Yeah. Also, all the events people missed too. Really, I missed a funeral. Guy I worked with, 26 years old, passed away.
And they shut things down prematurely. And yet those same leaders, whether it's the American or Canadian, they would gallivant off to their little retreats, whether they go to Hawaii or their property investments on both sides of the border.
I know.
Totally fucking contradiction. Total contradiction.
Sick. And you know why? The only reason they're gonna start easing on the masks and all that is because they actually want to get voted back into office, so they can be like, "You see, we ended COVID. Just ended. Once you guys voted for us, just ended. Like Joe Biden's president. Oh yeah, he's president now. So guess what? COVID is over. Never have to wear that mask again. Woo! Get out of here. Go take our vaccine. It's totally not experimental at all, and definitely is not liable to anyone."
Understood. Okay. Blue Apple. Totally disagree. What do you disagree with, Blue Apple? Opioid crisis is going full bloom. There have been suicides in Canada. There's been families that have been distraught. Jobs have been lost. Businesses have been lost. Right? All for what? For the panic. Right? Oh, this was a good one too. So a lot of us have missed family events and get-togethers, and some have missed funerals and lost loved ones in the name of this beer bug. Right? Justin Mears says, I watched Jordan Peterson interview. Yeah, I saw part of that interview too. She survived North Korea. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Should all watch that as well. Go to Jordan Peterson's channel where he interviews Human Park. She has quite the interesting story, ladies and gentlemen, what she went through. So, quite the interesting story. So, but there is no defeat here. It's because of viewers like you that make this show relevant. So give yourselves a pat in the back, right? My wonderful viewers out there, please keep liking, subscribing, and sharing this all around too, right? And if there's anybody out there who's a small business who would like me to advertise on the Crusty Canuck podcast, let me know via email. Let me know via email if you'd like me to advertise your product or brand or your service. My rates are pretty reasonable. So contact me via email. Let me know what you can do. This is Fastball Sunday with myself, Fred Stockman. We had Chris Semchuk earlier, who produced a wonderful interview with the D-Day veteran. So you can check out his channel, Veteran's Voice, Chris Semchuk, at YouTube, and find out more about that interview. And hopefully we'll look forward to more interviews we'll have in the near future too. I'm Crusty Canuck, and this is Fred Stockman. Please, more people, weigh in. Where are you writing this from?
Are we going to read the communist comments from your Facebook page?
No, I'm not going to read them because, I don't believe in doxing.
No, you're not doxing. Just read the comment without the name. Just don't mention the name.
Okay, I'll see if I can do that here. Justin Mears from Vancouver Island. Okay. Let's see. Where did I catch it here? Give me a sec here. I'll queue up the page. I've got all these pages open for everyone's listening pleasure. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. There we are. Oh, here we go. Somewhere here. One of them comes from a guy called, well, I'm not going to give his name. Let's see. I get a, hey, Skippy, move to America if you think it's so great here in Canada. Hey, Skippy. Okay. Hey, Skippy, how are you?
What is this guy, Joe Biden?
You know, he might
How
like
old
him
is this
somehow.
man?
Another one says, you can stop being oppressed by our horrible communist healthcare system anytime you want, yet you choose not to. Your paradise of freedom and liberty is just down the road, but you choose to stay here and be miserable. Okay. Let's see. What else did he say to me? So you choose to admit that to be oppressed and miserable, then you spend your entire life whining about it. The only fighting you've done in the army is using you as a medical experiment to test the effects of chemical weapons on the brain because nobody is naturally that stupid. Oh, okay. Now, this is coming from a kid, and I will say kid, because he obviously lives with his mother, or he's holding up the little red book of the proletariat and holding on for dear life, or clenching someone else's pearls while nurturing someone else's teat. That's my logic, you know. So another one here basically said, as long as you're still here, you're choosing to be oppressed. Well, I'm not choosing to be oppressed. Nobody wants to be oppressed. Put your money where your mouth is
Wait a
and
minute.
go be free. And since you want liberty so bad, the fact you're too much of a puss to enjoy your amazing wonderland of freedom tells me all I need to know. Well, see, he's not really, you know, emphasizing what exactly he's trying to put.
Wait a minute. Is he admitting Canada is a oppressive state?
Sorry, your mic keeps cutting out, Fred.
Oh.
There you go. You got
How's
some
this?
noise going over your microphone there.
Oh, maybe it was my headphone. Is he admitting that Canada is an oppressive state?
Obviously, you know, he thinks I'm saying Canada is an oppressive state. It's getting there, but no, I'm speaking my mind. If I was truly oppressed, I'd be censored 24/7. You'd be censored in your country. Other Canadians would be censored too. They are trying to censor people. Let's just summarize this kid here. Let's see. Yeah, he doesn't really say much. So
I thought you'd have more spicy comments. I got one that one guy said I was a scummy person for saying that Pride Month is a waste of time. So that's cool. I don't know. It doesn't really. It's not that I care like what gay people do, but it's like, come on, we have an entire month to celebrate someone's sexual desires when we could be. I mean, it is PTSD awareness month. I think it's like no press, you know. Like that would be a much more better use of time, I think.
Mhm.
But who cares?
Oh,
I know too many people that suffer from PTSD
Mhm.
to care about pride. You know.
Well, that's the thing. Like I got let go from a job because I said, "Why do we have to have a month-long parade to celebrate who wants to love? That's fine. Go for it. I don't care. You know, my lifestyle is not compromised because you have a different lifestyle or you have a different choice. We all have choices here, right? My thing is that why do we have to always put emphasis on it? Who cares who you sleep with? Great, knock yourself out. I'm not judging you. You know, fine, whatever. But you know, we have men and women who come from all walks of life. Some are straight, some are gay, some are bi, some don't even have sex, and they've committed the ultimate sacrifice, well beyond having the right to have a parade to wave a flag. I personally know Canadians who have been fined for waving the Canadian flag. So, what's that tell you? Hmm? You know, oh, it's
Canada,
oppressive. Oh, it's mean. Canada's such a terrible racist country. No, it's not. We just have people in charge that are calling the shots, trying to make me and make you and my other friends look like racists when we're not. So, can you say narcissism? You know, so
imagine having. I don't know. I'm not a Catholic, but I do think the seven deadly sins is a valid way to think. You know, I think having pride. I think is it pride, lust, greed. I think is one of them. Gluttony. I forget the other ones. But I think those are decent ways to think about the world. And I think having pride in, especially something that's just, it's sex. It's like, I'm sorry, but I don't really care who you hook up with as long as it's not a child and it's not rape. So, I
And
mean,
you should protect yourself too.
I guess. I mean, whatever. Knock yourselves out, people. It's not really my business to be in your bedroom. Now, the problem is when you have to take that bedroom out into the streets of my town and bring your children to a pride event. That's what you're doing. So there's these the other day, and this is not my hatred of gay people, guys. Seriously, I really do not hate gay people. I was driving my work van around with my boss, going through these towns. You know, these are $1 million houses in some of the richest areas of Massachusetts. You know, towns like Manchester by the Sea. You know, really world famous, amazingly beautiful pieces of property, country clubs. And we go through the center of town, and there's they're having a pride event, right? So there's guys in boas and leather and shit. And what really disturbed me about it, it's not that I care what gay people do. It's that there was children there that are easily under the age of 10 waving pride flags around. Now, you can say, whatever, do what you want. They're parents. Fine, that's true. They are parents. But you shouldn't, sexualize your kids. There's guys there that are dressed in less than decent ways. You know, I wouldn't want my brother or sister who are not even, that are older than those kids to see that, because that's not okay. The trouble is they've basically brought the bedroom into the public square, and I'm not okay with that. So at least have some basic dignity, people. I mean, it's not okay what they're doing.
No, you're not alone, Derek. You're not alone. There's a lot of Canadians and Americans that are pissed off too. We can't change the inevitable. Not that I want to change anybody. I have some people in my life that are dear, close friends that happen to be gay. That's fine. I don't judge on that. But to dedicate a whole month to all these parades, so be it. Okay, fine. But it's just getting to a point where it's like the moment you say something against it, oh, you're chastised. You're labeled as a terrible human being. Oh, how dare you? How dare you?
I am a terrible human being.
Yeah,
Tell me that. Who cares? Doesn't mean anything.
Oh, you're oppressing me. No, you're the one there with the whistle and the thing on your front, gyrating around. How am I oppressing you? You're doing it.
You're the one who brought children to this event. I didn't bring my siblings or my younger cousins to this because it's not child appropriate. Yet, it's. I don't want to say it's grooming or pedophilia, but at some level, that is not okay. And it almost is. It's on the very, very, very close to it. Okay, children should not be exposed to this, yet they are, and that's really not okay. And it really makes me angry.
Well, Justin Mears says nobody in 2021 cares who people want to fuck. Yeah, just stop forcing your fucked ideology or fucking ideology whenever. That's the thing. I wish I had more information when I took sex ed in school. Honestly, when I took sex ed in school, but pros and cons of relationships, what have you, and a better understanding rather than this is a penis into a vagina, this was happens 9 months later, blah blah blah. Your body's going through changes. Okay, your notional sex education. And now I'm for a sex education for kids that want to know. When they want to know something, as little Billy hits puberty, and he looks at Scotty in a different light. Okay, well, there's some news there for Billy, right? Help him understand the transition into being an adult, not an ideology or an identity. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
I disagree.
Well, let them know that it's okay to be who they are. By all means, let people know it's okay to be who you are.
That's not
but
the
when you're
state's
constantly
job.
forcing it down people's throats all the time, that's where let them figure it out. Like, how many stories have you heard about people that were married for a matter of 10, 15 years, and one of the members of the marriage ends up being homosexual or being bisexual because they didn't know or didn't have the information at the time. They weren't given that opportunity to express themselves, right? That's the thing. My concern is that you do what you want in your bedroom, fine, as long as you're not hurting people, taking their stuff. I kept it simple. I don't have time to go through the psychological aspects of it, but I agree with you on the ideology. Let kids decide for themselves. If they grow into it, it's part of their natural existence, fine. Just the same as you're straight, I'm straight. It's part of our natural existence. I've never been curious. I've never been. I don't think I ever will be. I think a man's body's ugly. I do.
Too hairy for me.
Sorry, Buckeye. It does nothing for me,
No, so in all joking aside, I don't think sex ed should be taught in school. As someone who was recently well, not that recently. It's almost 7 years ago, so that's a while. But yeah, so when I was in middle school, about 6 or 7 years ago, when they were teaching us sex ed, they basically spent the entire time talking about homosexuality, and that is such garbage. It's like 2% of people that are like gay or lesbian. Okay, I swear to God, this is just social engineering. They're trying to undermine like what's normal behavior in society, and they basically made being gay some kind of like street cred, which is stupid. And I don't care. Like I said, it interests me so little who you hook up with, as long as it's not children or you're abusing someone. But like this stuff, I really don't believe it should be taught in school. Like at the biological level, this is what biological sex is. This is what STDs are. That's like the limit of what it should be. Okay, you shouldn't teach about gay sex. Okay, you shouldn't teach about all of these other weird kinks people have.
Well, it's not the kink I want to explore. I want people to understand who they are. If it's a natural occurrence in young people who are growing and they hit puberty, then have them the option to understand it and who they are as people. Let the kink come naturally when they decide when those individuals decide to venture.
Why do they need to be taught about it?
They don't have to. Well, I agree with you there. They shouldn't have to be taught about anything kink. Leave the kink to between two consenting adults or two consenting people. Okay. But like I say, the notion of little Billy decides, Scotty's looking pretty good to me. Okay. Well, obviously Billy's gay. Show him the options. Just like how straights are shown the options too. To understand that when you grow into it. Screw the kink. Like I didn't understand straight kink until I was well into my teen years.
Yeah, but gay sexuality is kind of a kink though. In my view.
Well, it's a sexual preference. I disagree with you there too. It's a sexual preference. It's someone who naturally is. But I would have my friends and people that I know it earlier rather than discover it later. Right?
Yeah, sure. I just find it interesting because I remember when gay marriage was passed about 10 years ago. Like I was in elementary school or whatever. But I was just thinking about it the other day. Like now the argument used to be, gay people can't change, let them do whatever they want. Now the arguments, they basically got to the gender thing and they're like, hey, you must accept that woman right there is a man. Like, come on.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's just a play on reality as well, too.
Like, I understand gay people exist, but
I agree with you there, Fred. I agree entirely with you there. You just can't change yourself, boom, like that because you want to identify. Right, and you've seen my episodes too, where I talked to those two trans people.
I don't think I did see that one actually. I got to get.
Well, especially when I talk with Cousin Elle, a wonderful human being, wonderful lady, down to earth, realistic, and she has a great outlook on the politicizing of the whole issue too. So you can watch that episode as well. All right,
who I don't mind as a transgender is like the whole trans thing is like confusing to me, but I don't mind some of them as long as they like actually do the work. The people that are just like they put on a dress and say they're a woman, like the man that put on a dress and say they're a woman, it's like come on. But like at least like Blair White, who I disagree with on a ton of issues, I think she's crazy. At least she looks like a woman, and I'll say she's a chick. Fair enough. At least she looks like a woman. She actually put the work in to look like a chick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, Justin made a fine point here. Exactly. People have the right to do what they want with their lives and own bodies. Exactly. Okay. I got the right to smoke cigarettes. I may disagree with abortion. Fine. Go ahead and do it. I have lived the consequences of smoking cigarettes, and some ladies that promote abortion They've got to live with the consequences of their decisions too, right? It's a matter of personal freedom.
It's not their body.
Well, I agree. I don't think abortion is a good thing. I agree. I've said it here, but I'm not going to tell a woman what to do with her body, considering I'm smoking cigarettes. I'm hurting my body, right? So
we can have this conversation later. We'll do it another time. I don't want to debate right now. I'm too exhausted. And
I smoke cigarettes. I still drink the odd time. I shave my head. You know, if I grow my hair naturally, it turns into Homer Simpson, Kim Mitchell's wicked stepchild, what have you. So
okay, Crusty, I'll one up you here. I'll bring a woman on that's anti-abortion sometime. We can have a chat. I know a couple.
Okay.
We can have a chat about it. And I know one that's not religious either, so it'd be even more fair. If you want to do that. But, like, I don't know. I just think that it's technically not your body. It's not a fetus. It is a human. Most scientists would agree and have determined that life begins.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm not doubting the fact that something is not alive in a female once she's pregnant. I'm not doubting that at all. But I'm not going to sit here and say you can't do that, considering that I'm also polluting my body.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Polluting your body is different than killing a completely separate being. Now, sure,
okay, but I'm also killing myself slower too.
That's fair.
I disagree with abortion. I disagree with it. I disagree with it because I know people in my life that would love nothing more than to have a little boy or little girl, and they cannot physically, chemically do it because of science, because of biology, circumstances, accidents, right? I'm not disagreeing with the fact that, I don't agree with abortion, but I'm not going to tell the woman that she cannot do it. Okay. Now we can both agree too. Let's say if there's a lady that has had 4 or 5 abortions and brags about it, that's not a question of her right. That's just a question of her character.
She shouldn't be allowed to at that point if she's just like laughing about it. Like, honestly, I really think it should be much more heavily regulated than it already is. But seriously, people are fucking nuts now. I'm sorry to swear, but like.
Oh, I agree. Abortion is murder. It is. I agree with it.
Did you see the lady on TikTok, which is this will be my last thing for today because I'm just exhausted and just disappointed with humanity. But did you see the? I think it's a lady on TikTok who is like, oh no, what I'm gonna do, and then she's like, I already scheduled the appointment. You see that one?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I haven't. So.
God help me. That is like some of the most vile stuff I've ever seen. And then, oh my God, it's actually. Wait a minute. I think I have it actually saved as a video. I don't know if I have it in PDF, but wait a minute. If I can send it to you. God help me. That was awful. One sec. Yeah, this is the one. I'll send it to you. Yeah, right now. Yeah, this is on Instagram. I don't know if you can screen share Instagram, but yeah.
Wow. Okay, I saw that. Yeah. Okay, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't get it up here, but I heard it, and so that's the thing. Like, she's bragging about what am I going to do? Oh my God, pretending she's pregnant, or she is pregnant, and then she's having a glass of wine, celebrating the fact that she booked an appointment to have an abortion. That's on her. I disagree with her. I do, but that's on her. Right? Because who's to say 5 years from now, let's say she has some complication downstairs, something can't be fixed, and she can never have a child thereafter. So that's
such a wicked woman. Seriously.
Well, just the laughing in the face. Okay. Now, I'll reemphasize too. I don't agree with it. I don't. But because of my liberty beliefs, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Okay. I'm not going to tell you what to do because I do this. Okay. I pollute my body every day with these things. I'm not bragging, but I'm not always ashamed of it either, too. Okay. And if I go to, let's say, some kind of protest and I say, ladies, you cannot have an abortion while I'm smoking a cigarette, I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. Honestly.
I would still say it, even if I was smoking a cigarette, which I don't. But like, it's not your own body, and I think that it's gone too far. Like, remember safe, legal, and rare? I used to be,
Vaguely.
when I was in high
Vaguely.
school, I used to be kind of a liberal. Put it this way, man. Safe, legal, and rare used to be like a pretty normal argument, right? I kind of agree with the premise at some level, but I used to, at least, and I don't anymore because I just think it's no longer necessary in most cases, unless it was a medical emergency or rape and incest. And I think those should really be the only exceptions. My reasoning is because as an adult, if you're old enough to know how to have sex and reap the consequences of it, it is your job to reap the consequences of it. So if a child is born out of that situation, that is on you. You are not the child. Okay, you killing yourself with cigarettes is your own body. You killing your own child is not your own body. That is a separate human being. So I can't just go shoot a 2-year-old right now because they're still dependent on me. Okay? Because a 2-year-old, if I had a 2-year-old son or a 1-year-old son, whatever, they're still technically dependent on me to survive, to get food, to get go to bed each night in a safe place. I can't just shoot them. I can't just murder them. We prosecute them. For some reason, there's an exception with abortion, and that's why I'm not okay with it. I think that's the best argument I can give, honest to goodness. And I don't need to I'm not gonna go out and just be a dick to you because you disagree with me on this. But there's that's just kind of how I see the world. And I also, what I can't stand is the glorification. Like, I know a lot of veterans, and they do not glorify war because it's killing people. So why would you
I don't glorify it at all myself.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you as a woman who got an abortion, which we're told for years is a sad, sad moment, go out and glorify it?
I disagree with it too.
Pretty awful. I think
I've said I disagree with it, but I'm not going to tell them what to do. That's the thing. That's just my principles. Your mic is going in and out again, Fred.
Sorry,
it's like you've got tinfoil or something on it. What are you doing with men?
There you go.
Yeah. But still, I don't agree with the lady getting an abortion. I don't agree with it. I don't. But I'm not going to sit here and say don't do it. It's individual responsibility, and as far as I'm concerned, she will have to pay the circumstances one way or the other for making those decisions. Just like any man who refuses to wear a condom when he's with somebody. It's a two-way street. The deed is a two-way street. And if a baby comes out of it or STI comes out of it, well, they're both responsible as far as I'm concerned. That's the thing. That's the thing. So, I'm not going to tell a woman that she can't do it, but I'm not going to endorse a lady who brags about it either. That's the thing. So I'm not going to endorse that. If you're proud of it, if that's an accomplishment when to go get an abortion, well, okay, you're missing the point. Get out and do something, build something. If you don't want to build a family, fine. Don't piss on people who don't build, who want to build a family, right? And I think Blue Apple made a comment there too, in regards of the family dynamic. There is such a trend on getting rid of it. Why? Why is that an issue? Why can't people have a mother and father? Why can't people have that anymore? What's wrong with that? Right?
Yeah. Why is it? I really don't understand why we have to look down on the classic nuclear family, like the stereotypical 1950s housewife, couple kids, father goes out and works. Why do we have to hate those people that want to live that life?
No, I don't. I don't hate them.
No, I don't. But a lot of people do, and it's just
Well, because they're taught to. They're taught to.
Yeah.
They're told it's evil. It's bad. Oh my God. Now, I'm not saying everybody in their 20s go out and hurry and get yourself a husband or a wife. Go live your life. And if you feel compelled that you want to marry somebody, then do it. Let's just hope that the opposite is your best friend. looks after your back as well as you look after hers or his. That's the thing. And then it's up to two consenting adults to make it work. Right. And that's the thing. We haven't, it's simplified, but then it's made to be so difficult too. Right. That's the thing. Jilly Davis, welcome, Jilly. Good to see you come out. Punctual as always. Did I miss the discussion on the hypocritical feminists who have no problem killing female fetuses? Yes, you did. Fred made a very, very valid point. If you want to emphasize that again, Fred.
My point was, it is the human body, I believe, should not be violated. That's also why I'm a very anti-war person too. I'm anti killing people for no clear reason. I think abortion is one of those things where it's essentially someone that's a completely different person, right? Sure, they depend off you, but so does a 2-year-old, so does a fucking 30-year-old. There's 30-year-olds that are still in their parents' house. I still live with my parents. Almost 20. But yes. Oh no, I should own a home by now. Get out of here. So I just think a lot of the arguments I've heard are just not good enough. I think for rape and incest, I guess those are reasonable things, because it's like that's not really a choice. That's usually pedophilia with the incest case, and almost it's almost always non-consensual anyway. So yeah, it's rape. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's the most rational argument I can think of. But otherwise, I just think it's two consenting adults. You make a bad decision, you reap the consequences. It's your child. If you wish to put them up for adoption, fine. I do not mind paying more taxes for the foster care system or the adoption system. As bad as it is, at least that kid gets a chance. So, I don't know. It's a complicated situation. Well, kind of complicated, I guess. But I think the right now there's actually, interesting enough, in America there's a conversation about what will happen to Roe v. Wade. There's a case going to the Supreme Court right now that could overturn it. Any American that knows law well will say Roe v. Wade was a bad case because somehow they read the right to privacy into the U.S. Constitution to justify abortion, which there is technically no right to privacy. I've only recently learned that, so that's actually crap. So whatever, but yeah, that's not true. And the fact that, if anything, it should be a state's right, not the federal government, if you want to be technical about it. But who cares about the state's rights anymore? They want to overturn them constantly.
Well, the point I try to make too is I disagree with it. I do disagree with abortion. Right? You should be a mature adult if you want to have a child. Okay. And if you just treat abortion like it's nonchalant, like you're turning a page, then, well, okay, that's on you. That's a test of your character as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their bodies. I'm not. Right? If someone's standing outside and they're freezing their butt off, I'll offer them a jacket. If they don't want the jacket, who am I to sit there and give it to them? But if that person dies under my watch, then there's some responsibility and some ethics there too. It's the same thing. I'm not going to tell young kids, oh, don't you smoke, little kids, and don't you drink, right? But I'm not going to sit here and brag like it's some kind of nouveau cure to boredom either. So it's a matter of personal choice. I disagree with abortion. I do think it's wrong, honestly. But I'm not going to tell any females out there what to do with your bodies. That's on you. If you get busy with somebody and voila, there's a little surprise, then you got to grow up and make some adult decisions. It's that simple, right? And what you do with yourself, what you do with your time, and what you do with your efforts, that's on you. But if you have a baby and you decide to abort it, that's on you too. It's that simple. And you got to live with those consequences. Just like I have to live with the carcinogenics, the high heart rate for the caffeine, I assume, right? Same for the guy, his body, his choice. If you're a dude and you're out screwing everything you get your hands on, you don't wear a condom to protect yourself, well, that's on you as well. So it's about ownership, ladies and gentlemen, taking responsibility for your shit and not hitting people taking their stuff. So And Jilly nailed too. Yes, your body, your choice till it comes to the jab. I
Yeah,
don't want a jab.
I find that argument so stupid that the pro-abortion people are almost entirely vaccine or everyone getting the vaccine because they're all a bunch of libs and they're like, you better get that vaccine or else you could kill Granny. It's like, yeah, but you just killed a baby like a week ago, so shut up. Like,
Well, okay, yeah, you could use that too. Justin Mears says, so how about them? I don't know. I haven't watched pole vaulting in a while. If that's your thing, Justin, knock yourself out. Right. Yeah, that's your thing. I'm not going to weigh in on that. Do you want to weigh in on that, Fred?
no.
Maybe give up. Okay.
Stay away from that.
Jilly again, beloved Jilly. Yes, the issue past week isn't abortion itself. It's the idea of sex-selected abortion. That's just wrong to conflate with the feminine BS. And as far as I'm concerned, Jilly, you're right. That's no different than what communist China did, 20 years ago with the one-child household. And how many of those families were getting rid of girls? Right?
Almost all of them.
There
no
was
other women in China.
speculation. As far as I know, there was no proof of that, but there was speculation and conjecture, but it was based on something real. That's the thing. And yeah, okay. What is this? Is it like you're going to a market? Well, I don't want T-bone steak. I want ribeye. Right. And to my religious friends out there, I don't want to hear the reeing right now, but in the same sense, okay, that's what gets me too. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, ladies, with your bodies, but if you're going to have a baby, make sure you want it. You know, I personally know people in my circle of life that have strived to have children, and you just throw it away like it's nothing. It's like, well, okay, like I say, it's on you.
That's
right?
so sad too. Like, I have relatives that can't conceive. They try. I mean, they've adopted. That's great. And they're very. I mean, we love those family too. But it's like it's so sad, you know.
Mm.
It's tons
It
of
is.
parents who would
It
like
is.
those.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your questions in. We're going to be shutting this down in the next few minutes. So please, everyone, weigh in where you're writing this from. You know, please ask myself, Fred, any questions on this beautiful Fastball Sunday. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. With me is Fred Stockman. We had Chris Semchuk with us earlier, providing a great interview he did in his own time, put on the old DEUs, his uniform, just to celebrate D-Day. And this is June 6, 2021, 77 years after the D-Day invasion, where the Allies kicked ass and took some names. And one hell of a sacrifice I'll never relate to. But let's just hope we never have to come to a situation like those lads did on the beaches of Normandy. All right, please give us your questions in, ladies and gentlemen. Tell us all where you're writing from.
I got to show you something. Just one last thing, and then I'm probably going to bugger off. So, this is from you remember the Lincoln Project?
Familiar.
So they're basically these anti-Trump Republicans that are just dickheads, you know. Just classic, like, oh my gosh, get out of here, he's a fascist. This is from them.
Okay.
Antifa. They stormed the beaches of Normandy, parachuted into the French countryside, and gave their lives to face down and fight back against fascism. They took down Nazi machine gun nests, tore apart the Third Reich's strongholds, liberated concentration camps, liberated France, Italy, Belgium, Holland. Anywhere Antifa saw fascism, they fearlessly and relentlessly annihilated it. Fascism was defeated because of patriots like these, proud Americans who knew that the fight against fascists was not simply a battle between opposing nations. It was a war against inhumanity. A war that isn't nice, but cannot be lost. A war we still fight today. Anti-fascism, it's not a news talking point. It's an American ideal that should be memorialized because it was paid for in blood.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
And we all know that Antifa is nothing but glorified commie thugs.
Yep. And the Lincoln Project, biggest hacks in the world. I think the leader of it is Rick Wilson from CNN. Yeah, absolute idiots. They're such country club Republicans. You know, they live in gated communities. They could really care less what the average American is suffering from.
Well, our dear friend Julie Davis more or less said, "What a load of absolute shit." I'm sorry, but that's gross, and I agree. What a joke! Because it didn't matter if you're a Republican at the time, didn't matter if you're a Democrat at the time, didn't matter if you're liberal, conservative, or Workers' Party in Canadian politics. There was an evil that had to be stopped, and it wasn't just the Americans that did it. A lot of Brits, a lot of French resistance, Dutch resistance, Belgian resistance, and Canadians kicked ass and took names in Europe too, right? And that's what some things that some American Republicans have failed to realize too, that you had American logistics doing some wonderful things for the Allies, but you also had a lot of troops from Britain and Canada kicking ass, taking names just the same. So,
So sick. It just makes me sick to my stomach. You know, like I hate to be that person, but it's like I don't know. I didn't have too many relatives that fought in World War II, but there's a lot of people I've had the privilege to meet that have fought in World War II. You know, and it's like those men were the exact opposite of what our culture likes today. They had convictions. They were masculine. They owned guns. You know, most of them were conservatives, to be honest, or at least socially conservative.
well, even the Polish too. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right, Jilly. I should have mentioned the Polish too. A lot of Polish joined the RAF and joined the ground forces that stormed the beaches of Normandy, whether they're in British uniforms or American uniforms. They kicked ass and took fucking names too. So that's the thing. But ladies and gentlemen, please weigh in. Give us your location. Tell us where you're writing from. And please feel free to ask us any questions before we shut down this beautiful Fastball Sunday for June 6, 2021. Myself, Crusty Canuck, and the inevitable Fred Stockman from Massachusetts.
I'm moving out soon.
Where are you going to?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
New Hampshire's a nice place. Yeah, I remember New Hampshire, yes.
I've been living there part-time anyway, like on most weekends. I really only, when I come back on Sunday evenings, I do this. So I'll probably be living up there full-time in the near future. So exciting.
Right on. Right on. So Justin Mears says Hitler and Stalin are identical kin, almost in distinguish from each other. Yes, of course. Tyrants, totalitarians, right? Manipulators and murderers, just the same. So if a commie sits there and says that wasn't real communism, hit him with a shovel.
You know what's funny is like neo-Nazis never say that wasn't real like fascism. I find that hilarious. They're the only ones that actually own it. I don't like them, but at least they own it. Like, fair enough, mate. Like,
well, at least they own the fact that they were fascist. Yes.
Yeah. Like, communists are like, oh my gosh, that wasn't the real thing. Yeah. Neo-Nazis are like, Hitler was a good dude. they don't even care. Those guys are terrible, honestly. Awful people. But it's like, come, at least, fair enough. Okay. You're a dick, mate. I get it. Like,
be that notional pause and you take a shovel and you reach out and you smack somebody, right? Exactly. So, from Julie Davis, I'm the nation hole that is Calgary today. Yes. Hopefully, we'll get a Ralph-like replacement in Calgary being great again. I don't know, Julie. How about you run for Calgary Council? They could use you. You're intelligent. You're witty. You know Canadian history. You're articulate, and you give a shit. All right. I'd say go for it, Jilly. Go for it. I think the city of Calgary would fucking love you for that too. You know? So, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the point of the show where we're going to shut her down for another successful week of Fastball Sunday. Anything else you'd like to say, Fred, before we sign off?
Leave the extraordinary ordinary. Yeah, that's it.
Basically. Okay. Right on.
Basically.
And you can also reach Fred, ladies and gentlemen, at Fred Stockman at Anchor FM. When's your next show? Have you done one lately?
I have absolutely no idea. I've been away and I haven't done much. This is basically the only show I've been going on. So,
okay.
I'm on Twitter, so you can find that. Just fine. I forget what underscore I'm using now. I use my middle name. Crap. I think it's just Danny_Archer, like the guy from Blood Diamond.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
Fred Stockman was taken, so I couldn't use it again, which is disappointing. But yeah, it's just Frederick Daniel Archer on Twitter. If I can pull it up. Yeah.
Okay, send me the link in the private chat, and then I'll put it up here. So
Yep.
you can do that too. And yes, you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Gab, Telegram, the social. And you can also find me in Brighteon too. I'll be signing up there. I'll be updating my pages as we speak. But like I said, I'll probably have an episode up tomorrow or Tuesday sometime for the Crusty Canuck podcast. You can find me on Podbean, crustycanuck.podbean.com. If you like to hear what you see, by all means, ladies and gentlemen, please check me out on the Supercast. Supercast page there too. All my podcasts will be censorship free. For $5 a month, you get all the Crusty Canuck podcasts you want. As long as I make them, you get them. So please check me out on Supercast. Look for Crusty Canuck, $5 a month gets you all of my episodes censorship free. I'd like to make this a full-time commitment, ladies and gentlemen. I love doing the podcast, and I love you, my audience. And I want to thank Fred Stockman again, as always, for coming out, and Chris Semchuk for doing that wonderful video with that D-Day veteran, giving us guidance and wisdom today's strifes and an insight to another point of view when it comes to world affairs too. I want to thank all of you, my audience, Jilly Davis, Justin Mears, Derek Sittler, Jeremy Jackson, who else? Mark Dietz, all of you who have come out and said hello, Ms. Blue Apple, yes, and Sue Kozakowski, Kellen, Jeremy, Derek, and others who have come out tonight. Thank you very much for your kind words of wisdom, right? And all that other good stuff. So, yes, I have to quit smoking. Thank you, Justin. Mother. Yes, I have to quit. I know. Needless to say, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 6th of June, 2021. This has been the Sunday Fastball. Tune in to my YouTube page and community page for updates on the next Fastball Sunday. Anything else to say, Fred, before we F off?
No.
No, that's it. Roger. Alrighty. Well, take care, folks. Thank you all for coming out, and stay tuned for my pages for the next episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Take care.